Yes, the Archivest interviewing Scruff Mouth, one of Canada's finest spoken word poetry for the hip-hop culture. So who is Scruff Mouth?
Yo, Scruff Mouth, aka Scruff, aka Scruff Mouth the Scribe, is basically in the tradition of the dub poet, or in the tradition of the griot. Is an artist, and I'm just trying to do my thing on that spoken word tip. The foundation is really in hip-hop, in terms of my experience, and even reggae in terms of my familial experience, because of course dip into the parents' record collection and see all them things like Bob Marley and Peter Tosh and Jacob Miller and all those guys. So, you know, when I do my thing right now, I really try and identify with a lot of my word. So if you want to know who Scruff Mouth is, really you gotta kind of come out and see it live, do you know what I mean? See the poet speak, because I come from that school of poetry where what you're writing is the same thing that you're standing on, right, in terms of your truth. So identity is one of the big themes you'll find in Scruff Mouth poetry, as well as roots and culture. You're going to find some history, you know what I mean? I'm a bit of a nerd when it comes to history, but that's a good thing, because you can't know where you're going unless you know where you've been. So that's kind of who Scruff Mouth is.
How did you get into spoken word, and what is one of your first pieces that you've ever done?
That's a good question. I got into spoken word, I think, literally when I was walking up Commercial Drive and I saw the Vancouver Poetry Slam going down. And then around 2002, it was a finals night. And so I saw some words being spoken. I already knew about slam poetry, and I was already writing, you know, always writing when I was in university. I was always writing things for myself, because I never really felt ownership over a lot of things you feel you have to write. You know, you have to do this, you have to write that for whatever class. So always wrote my own stuff, always listened to the music that I love to listen to, which was hip-hop. So the poets that inspired me to do what I do, people like KRS-One, Chuck D, Rakim, Jerry Damaja, Q-Tip, you know what I mean? This track is legendary, Electric Relaxation. I used to like just rewind the tape and play this off, right? So the first poem that I wrote, coming out of university really, and I had been studying philosophy and history, and now, you know, I have this degree, and now I was taking a season off soccer. I kind of got injured, and I had to use my voice because I realized that was part of the healing process. So I said, I'm going to write the definitive poem on Black history. And so I did that. It was called Black His Story, right? So that was kind of, you know, that's kind of how I, you know, I'm going to even like rock it for you, do you know what I mean? Because I might as well. His story has always been pure as snow and clear as rain. Clearly, his story was written, recorded, and remembered to be right and white as he is. His story is not finished. The storytellers continue to diminish our exposure to the gory details that are nonetheless real. Shield yourself from the sun. Wear sunscreen and all that shit. Shit story is made up of pointy white hoods telling falsehoods and passing them into law. Shit story is no more than picking a nigga to string up. His story is bullshit, in the form of chronological sequence with the realness removed to make him look good, even though his face is still hidden by a pointy white hood. Invisible like the man who would remember soon enough when they let him out of the machine. Invisible like the hand of Big Brother reaching down to smother the songs that we wail or the words that we speak. I was here but I disappeared. Shit story has left us weak. I am everywhere. I am an impossible existence made possible by the spirit of persistence. I am an impossibility that was eradicated, annihilated, and still I rise from a past that has been vaporized. You heard we quit no way bullshit. I told you before, we come back with more hits. I provide right flavor. Our story is misconstrued, confused, infused, abused, and misused by his story. But my story is a mystery when used in place of his story. In this atrocious condition, we concede to the cowardly volition of historical tradition. The imposition being that we were separated, lost, forgotten, and freed somewhere along the way. But since freedom is slavery, we are still subjugated today. So when we rise up and see our dark shadows, we know what is to be done during the 6 weeks of optic white winter that hide us from the sun. Continually they avert their eyes, waiting for spring to arrive. But seasons are reversed, and the sickness will swiftly target the wickedness of power and wealth, and those who are last shall soon be the first. The first of the month is the yesterday of birth, signified by the amethyst and a strong black fist. Born from a legend, his story denied, we respond to the question of prejudice with pride. And all seasonal synchronicity aside, how can our story be adequately displayed during a month of merely 28 days? Black history? Black his story is an oxymoron, but it's not easy to see when truth is expensive and ignorance is free. So that's some poetry from the Scruff. This is the book, New Word Order. It's the latest chapbook, collection of poetry. Self-published. The collective I roll with is called the Black Dot Roots and Culture Collective. We're a group of artists and professionals who come together to share our stories and focus on education, creation, and celebration of the Black experience.
And tell us also about the chapbooks that you've made, and what was the hottest selling one that you have, and one of the most famous pieces that you've already wrote.
My previous chapbook, in terms of a collection of poetry, was called The Seventh Sense, and that was just 7 poems that I was. All 7 of those poems are, as far as I'm concerned, some of my most engaging work, both on the page and on the stage. Few crowd favorites: legendary Ancient Astral Afro. You got The Wordsmith. You got Hip-Hop Hearts, which was, I lyrically sampled some Q-Tip from Electric Relaxation, and there was a soundbite of that was included in a film called Love Happens as well. I got a few good ones. I got one called Is Hip-Hop Poisonous, where I definitely paid tribute to Chuck D and Public Enemy, and, that's how I do, you know what I mean? Like, I think there's definitely some, I have another one called The Wrath of the Math, right? I had to take that title from my poem from J. Rue's second album, you know what I mean? So, yeah, I have some stuff that's out there, if you YouTube it, you might hear something, you might see something. I'll try and make my presence felt, so thank you to the Archivest for, just talking to me. It's all good. Sometimes post like that.
What's your inspiration in hip-hop and the culture?
Well, my inspiration is in living the culture. My inspiration in hip-hop was the fact that I could listen to some music and whatever I could experience live, and then become a part of that. And hip-hop culture was teaching me more about myself than anything I was ever learning at school. So in terms of my inspirations, it's just MCs and poets who were speaking to me, and it was a cultural expression that I saw that was really uniting people, especially, my generation of people. So I think the unity in hip-hop is really what attracted me, and that's what I resonate with.
And tell us about your slam poetry being a champion. What's it like as winning that?
So I guess it was 2004 that I first stepped on stage at a poetry slam. And so 2004 was the first time I kind of did my thing on a slam poetry stage in Vancouver. And in 2007 I made the Vancouver Poetry Slam team. And in 2008 I was on the team again as the Grand Slam champion. So I like to travel, so the good thing was, we got to go to the National Poetry Slam, we got to go to the Canadian Festival Spoken Word, we even got to go to Bumbershoot in, I believe that was 2008 when Wu-Tang was on the stage. Yo, guys, Wu-Tang live, yo. I didn't mention Wu-Tang, but big ups, yo.
You ever rocked any stages with any of the big people? In hip-hop?
Rock the stages. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, ST and K-Rec are big peoples out here in hip-hop. Have I ever rocked the stages with any big people in hip-hop? That's a good question. I don't, other than ST, so bless up ST.
Hey man,
right? Other than
right
ST,
back at you, right back at you.
And some of the cats that I respect out here, like Obsidian. Alright. What's up, Links? No, Lincoln Thorn holding it down. Fade to Black Entertainment Influence Crew. You know, but I would say I'm still waiting to get up on that stage, really. If you want to check me out, I have a basic MySpace.
Okay, drop me a plug.
/Scruff Mouth, Facebook.com/Scruff Mouth, the Black Dot Roots and Culture Collective. Check it out. We do the Art of Word, which is a open mic and poetry jam session every other Wednesday here at Rock Canvas. So yeah, big ups to all the brilliant artists and beautiful people who kind of want to do the real thing, you know.
But real recognize real. Remember that.
Exactly.
All the real heads know who you are in Vancouver, so
That's nice
you've been
to know,
on your shine, you know.
Yo, man, that's nice to know. Much respect because you know, so the energy is all reciprocated, right?
For sure. All right. Thanks again.